After over 100 hours of playing Baldur's Gate 3, I've finally decided to start my first honor mode playthrough. Fair warning, if my characters don't match from scene to scene, it's because I actually started 2 separate honor mode characters so that I could go back and get any of the scenes that I missed before. I played this honor mode playthrough with my girlfriend. I only played the first playthrough with her, so if you don't see her in the second playthrough, that's why. Now the main reason I'm doing this is because I found out that you get golden dice if you beat the game in honor mode, so come with me and let's see if we can get these golden dice. To start, I made my way through the Nautiloid, and obviously I made sure to get the Everburn Blade from Commander Zalt. Now for this next part, I lost the footage against the Harpies, and I didn't get the footage on my second playthrough. But I used Calm Emotions and I used Sanctuary on the Tiefling kid to keep him safe, and honestly this honor mode fight against the Harpies was the easiest fight that I think I've ever had against the Harpy. After gathering some things at the Emerald Grove, we moved on to the Truesworn. After talking to the Truesworn and collecting the Mind Flare Tadpole, I moved on to the Owlbear's Cave. Now I fought the 2 owlbears in the cave, but I left the baby alive so that I could see it at the Goblin Camp later. The main reason I went and fought these owlbears was just for the experience. I knew honor mode was going to be extremely difficult, and I was trying to collect as much experience as possible as I could early on. Now the next thing we did was go talk to the Githyanki, and we pulled out Lae'zel so that we would have an easier time with this conversation. Now normally, me personally, I like to do the exploit where you get the Blade of the Astral Plane from the Githyanki by using command drop and then going to pick it up. But with this being honor mode, I decided not to, and I just took the big chunk of XP you can get from this conversation. Now the next thing that I went about doing was exposing Kage and the Dark Druids to the Grove. This fight was actually fairly difficult in honor mode. I'm not completely sure that I've ever done it before pre-doing it in honor mode, which probably wasn't a great idea. I had just found out recently while I was doing the honor mode playthrough that I could expose her, so I went about doing that while I was playing. Now this is the part where doing 2 playthroughs really kind of messed me up. It made the game a lot more difficult because the Goblin Camp on honor mode, in my first time fighting the Goblin Camp, I had a pretty easy time because my girlfriend was there to do everything with me, and she's done the Goblin Camp a lot, so she's been through it a couple of times. My first time doing it in honor mode was only my second time going through the Goblin Camp, so I used my girlfriend's help to guide me along the way a lot of the time. But doing my second honor mode playthrough to get some of the footage that I had missed in the Goblin Camp made this very difficult. Now first in the Goblin Camp, we made a stop to pick up any items from the vendor at the front of the camp, and then we made another stop to make sure we got the Goblin Brand, because I know that can help out with situations later. And then we beelined it from Minthara straight to the back, turned on non-lethal attacks, knocked her out, and then went on to destroy the rest of the Goblin Camp. Now before taking on the very back of the Goblin Camp, we actually went and picked up Halsin and had him help out with the rest of the fight. Now in my first playthrough, I had actually exposed Kaga and the Dark Druids to the Grove, but in my second playthrough I had forgotten to do that. So I have this scene here from my second playthrough, where Halsin comes back to the Grove and reprimands Kaga. Now this honor mode playthrough is actually the first time I've gone through the party that you get after defeating the goblins and celebrating with the Grove. I know that's kind of crazy, I haven't played that before. But it was pretty fun, and I got to romance Shadowheart on both of my playthroughs. I was trying to keep them as similar as possible, but by the end of all this, they've kind of ended up morphing into 2 very separate playthroughs. And with all that said, Halsin has agreed to come help us with our Mind Flare problem at Moonlight Towers, and we're gonna make our way through the mountain pass. I know that was an extremely abridged version of Act 1, but I just kind of wanted to hit the highlights of what we did and what I did differently between both my honor mode playthroughs. Now I kind of want to take a second to talk about Act 1 in general, because I've really only played Act 1 of Baldur's Gate, and I'm going to play through Act 2 and spend some time in Act 2 before playing Act 2 in honor mode. So far I'm loving this game. I think if you've watched any of my videos, you would know recently I've played through Ocarina of Time for the first time, and that's become one of my favorite games. This has also probably become my other favorite game right now. I've never played a game that gives you so much choice and just you could kind of go off and do anything you want in this game. It's kind of incredible. Divinity came pretty close, and there have been some games that come pretty close to this, but the freedom of this game is just, I keep telling my friends and my brothers, it's like playing a session of D&D. And I know it's not exactly, but it's the closest thing I can think of outside of actually playing a session of D&D. I'm just absolutely loving this game right now. It's taken me a long time to figure out what kind of video I wanted to make for this. I thought about doing a Dark Urge playthrough. I was originally gonna do my first time playing Baldur's Gate, but the game, there's so much to it that I want to capture as much as possible. So I want to play through it and then come back and do an honor mode playthrough. And I think showing my first time playing an honor mode playthrough is kind of the best way to go about doing this. At this point, I've pretty much made every character I could possibly think about making. I've romanced just about every character in the game, at least for up for Act 1. Now I know that there is a pretty intense difficulty increase at some point towards the end of Act 2. That's why I want to try and maybe play Act 2 before I actually just go in with honor mode. I know plenty of people that have dumped hundreds of hours into this game and haven't gotten past Act 2 in honor mode. So I really want to try and get this right and hopefully be able to make a whole video for this series. That was one of the other reasons I decided to make a second character in honor mode, is because in case I lose the first, I still have the second to kind of rely on and hopefully be able to make videos for this. And I guess with that being said, that was my playthrough of Act 1 honor mode in Baldur's Gate. I don't necessarily want to give a rating for just Act 1. I think I'm going to wait until I've finished every single act of the game and then give a full overall review of the game. But this has been extremely fun, and I think hopefully I'll make it through and I'll be able to show all of the different acts and I'll be able to rate the game. Now if you're expecting the Act 2 of this playthrough, it probably won't be out for a while. Like I said, I want to go through and I'm probably gonna have to play a good bit. I'm gonna have to play through Act 2 a couple of times, at least once and then twice for both my honor mode playthroughs. So it's gonna take me a while to make this next video. But I hope you guys stay tuned, and if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll keep you up to date on when Act 2 comes out. Thanks guys.